What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I wanted to talk about the 3.0 update for the SP404-MK2. I've seen in the comments that a few of you are eager to get my opinion of the update, so I thought I'd choose the vloggy style format to allow myself to be a little bit more informal and be able to talk about this update in a little bit more detail. On top of that, I really want to talk about Koala as well. I've been using Koala obviously quite a bit over the past couple of weeks. You've seen my video series about it if you've been checking out my latest uploads. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later in the video, but I want to start by talking about the 3.0 update for the SP404-MK2. Now on the whole, you guys really seem to be digging this update, which is really good to see. I've seen a few problems from people in the comments. I also have a few of my own as well, which I'll share in this video. But generally speaking, these updates in 3.0, I think they're absolutely killer. Some of them in particular, the MFX automation, absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get to grips with that properly. The automated pad muting in patterns is absolutely amazing as well. I love that. And also the selective copying of patterns, like you will have seen in my last update. That's weird to say that because I'm filming this before that's gone live, but my last video should have been about a STEM workflow for the SP404-MK2 in Ableton, and now that I've figured that out, I'm really excited about that one. It's a little bit of work to do it, but I think the flexibility that it gives you in Ableton at the end of the process is absolutely I just really like that because it gives me what I want from the SP and from Ableton as well. I think arrangement in Ableton is just so much easier than doing it in the SP. And I know that a lot of you like to keep it all in the box, which is absolutely fair enough, but there are people out there like myself that like using a DAW to do the final kind of polishing and a bit of EQ, and now that I can do the whole structure of a beat in there as well, that is a real massive plus point for me. So yeah, the process is a little bit fiddly, I will admit, but like I mentioned, if you put that work in, you do get the results and you get that flexibility, so that's really nice. So yeah, on the whole, those updates, I just think they've made the SP into a bit of a different beast now, and I really like that. I think Roland have done really well to get these new features out. However, I do have a little bit of criticism about this update, and in particular, I think there's a couple of things they could have sorted out before this release went live. I would have preferred to see a smaller sort of housekeeping update before this release was made. And in particular, one issue which is really annoying me, and I know it's annoying you guys as well, is the resample bug. This must be a bug, and if you haven't noticed it, resample something and then look at the waveform. There's always a tiny bit of silence before the resampled waveform. This happens with patterns as well. Now the start point is in the right place, so you can go in and truncate the sample, but we shouldn't have to do that. That should just work and not have the dead space at the start. So I really wish that would have been sorted out, and it should have been in the 3.0 update as far as I'm concerned. I think they sorted it, but only for the pattern chain resampling, so that's all well and good, but I want to see it fully across the board. I just think that needs sorting out. And I'm sure there's other bugs and stuff as well, which I'm sure you guys have mentioned in the comments, which probably could have been cleaned up. Instead of doing like this massive new release with new features, there could have been a bit of housekeeping before this update, I think. So that's my overall opinion, I guess, is that the update is brilliant and I love the new features, but I think this could have come a bit later and there could have been some tidying up and then 3.0. Now, I've noticed a couple of things with 3.0 which I think need addressing, and this is one of the problems which I don't want the SP to get into, the 404-MK2. I don't want there to become this growing pile of little issues with it that stack up, and these are quite small things, but one thing I've noticed is that when you go to preview sounds that you want to copy between patterns, so we've got this new feature where you can selectively copy samples to other patterns. When you preview the samples that you want to copy, it doesn't listen to your velocity settings. So I always have fixed velocity on, pretty much never use it without, and the preview is velocity sensitive. So I was pressing the pads and thinking, this is really quiet. And I thought that was a bug. And then I had a little think about it and thought, oh, maybe they're velocity sensitive. So I went back in and started hammering my pads, and yeah, they were loud. So I'd like to see that married up with whatever velocity settings you've got on the SP. I think that would make a lot of sense. And then another one that I've noticed is that when you are recording your pattern mutes in the automation lane, once you've done that, it boots you out of the pattern area. So this should be a really easy fix. And I'm sure they've had to fix this before on a different setting. Sometimes that's useful. So like when you're bouncing patterns to pads, that new feature in 3.0, it takes you out of pattern mode once you've done it, so you can immediately listen to that pad, so that's a good thing. But with this one, you want to stay in pattern mode once this is done because you're just adding some mutes. You wouldn't want to come out of pattern mode at that point. So that definitely needs fixing, and it's only a minor thing, but it does affect the workflow quite a lot, because as soon as you've done it, you have to get back into the pattern mode. And I'm sure there'll be other things that people notice as we start using this more. I haven't actually really had that much chance to use 3.0 yet, because I've just been flat out making content. When I start delving into it, and when you guys start using it more and more in your workflows, I'm sure you're going to notice little things. So going back to my point earlier in the video, I think there really does need to be a housekeeping update next, just to tidy up these little things. Okay, and next up, Koala. Koala has been really fun to get to know. This is a very powerful app for the price. And what I'm going to start by saying, by the way, is that these two devices, so the SP and Koala, and in particular the SX and the A, are so heavily compared, and I just don't see it myself. I just think, you know, there's plenty of samplers on the marketplace. Yes, this has some very similar thoughts to the SP, and it actually cleared up quite a lot of problems that people were having with the SX and the A. So that's why it was getting loads of hype when the SX was still the main SP, because it was addressing a lot of the issues that we were having, and a lot of people were jumping on it. But now that the Mark II is out with all the updates, the additional polyphony, mute groups and all that kind of thing, there really is very little between these two devices, I think. And that brings me on to my point about Koala, and one of the things that I don't actually like about this device, and that is that I think sonically it's very tinny. Now, I don't know if that's anything to do with iOS and the way iOS processes audio, but if you're building beats just in Koala, it's quite hard to get punch in them. I think your samples have to do a lot of the work, and the effects, I mean, you do have the option of the effects in the perform area, in particular, you know, compressor. You're probably going to be putting compressor on nearly every beat that you make, but I don't find the compressor that great. And with my experience so far, it kind of adds too much emphasis on the kicks, and it actually ended up me getting problems with clipping with the kicks. So the compressor wasn't really doing too much for me. And that sort of moves me on to talk about the Mark II again, because the two of these in combination are absolutely brilliant. I think they're such an insane combination, because putting ideas together on Koala is very quick. You can grab samples from YouTube, and I'll show you that in a future video, relatively easily, and start making beats and sketching out ideas. But then to get that grit and oomph, you can run it into the SP and really make some nice sounding beats. Now, to do this, I've just been using a USB cable. My iPad is USB-C, and obviously the Mark II has USB-C as well. So I have literally just been using a USB-C cable, and that's been working this way. So from Koala to the Mark II, spot on. Get a really good signal, and I can mess around and process beats and do all sorts of fun things. Going from the SP back to here, it's not as good. I'm finding that the signal is very weak, and I'm having to basically normalize all the samples that come in from the Mark II into here. I'm having to normalize them on Koala before I can use them. Some people have pointed out that you could use an MFX to boost the volume, but yeah, I don't know exactly why that happens, but I've been using Normalize, and I've noticed no issues with that whatsoever. It does a really good job of processing those, and it doesn't really add any artifacts or anything like that. So I've been happy doing that. It is a bit of a pain having to do it every time, but I find that I have to normalize every sample that comes into my SP anyway, so it's kind of part of my workflow at this point. So I'm not really too fussed about doing that. And another thing that I'm really interested in getting to work is the This Is Noise machine, and my camera's really struggling to focus on all these things that are going on here. This works with Bluetooth. Now, I don't know if you guys have tried Bluetooth headphones with Koala. It's a no-go, basically. The latency is absolutely ridiculous, and you just can't do it. And I've been on the Koala website, and they have literally said it's to do with iOS and Bluetooth. It's nothing to do with the app. So hopefully one day the technology improves and we can use wireless headphones with this app with little to no latency. But at the moment, yeah, it's basically absolutely impossible to use the app. And what's interesting is this connects with Bluetooth, and it's supposed to be super low latency. Now, I've used this with my Mac in Ableton, and it works an absolute dream. So it's weird that the headphones don't work with this, but I assume that this will. I'm going to have to try it, obviously, but yeah, it would be weird if it didn't work. And I've seen videos on This Is Noise Instagram with it triggering samples in Koala, so it obviously does work. If anyone knows why that happens, leave it in the comments below. Why can that work with low latency on an iOS device, but headphones can't? I'm using my Skull Candy Indie headphones, and it's just impossible. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that that's sending audio, whereas that's just sending a signal. Maybe that's something to do with it, I'm not too sure. So yeah, that's it about Koala really. I'm loving using it, I've been loving getting to know it, and there's going to be loads more videos coming out about that with beat making and other tips and tricks and things, so stay tuned for those. Right, I'm getting low on battery here, so I better wrap this one up. On the whole, I'm really digging the 3.0 update. I think Roland have smashed it out the park with this one, and the new features are amazing. I can't wait to integrate them with my workflow. That being said, I would like to see an update soon addressing some of the issues that we're having. I think that's really, really important for the progression of this device now. And yeah, you guys seem to be really enjoying it, so that's really good. And I just can't wait to spend a bit more time with it, because the only time I've spent with it so far is getting to know the features so I could show you guys how they worked in those videos last week. And just one more quick thing before I go, guys. I got a notification in my video stats last week about a video that was performing better because it was getting more engagement. So YouTube gave me a notification to say there's been more engagement on this video, so it's performing better and reaching more people. So that got me thinking I need to try and stimulate some more comments happening below my videos. So in this one today, I'd like to know your favorite feature of 3.0. Leave it in the comments below and let me know. And I'd be interested to see if I'm getting more comments that my videos start reaching more people. So I would really appreciate it if you could just take the time to leave a comment. It can be your favorite feature or just anything that you want to leave. If you don't want to leave a comment, fair enough. But hopefully I'll see you in the next video anyway. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on the 3.0 update. Let me know if you agree below as well. Let me know about that. And I will be back with more content very soon. So as usual, take care of yourselves and keep making beats. Peace.